Hello, I'm reading Evie. There is a glare. Hi, I am reading Evie. I don't know if you heard my fiance in there saying I need a bigger voice. More energy in my voice. Like I actually want to do the video. Well, you know what? It is. Jesus Christ. It is 9:52 at night, and I have to work early in the morning, and I work 10 hours today. And only to work another 10 hours tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. 10 a.m., but still, that's early to me. Anyways, I am holding his new weapon. A little preview. You could check it out at Etsy's Live. I don't know when he'll have that. In 2 weeks, he'll have that video posted. Sneak preview. Alright, anyways, I have finished The Silent Sister by... I forgot the author's name. I'll have it in the description. But, it is about... You know what? I have to pull up the description anyways. Diane Chamberlain. That's her name, I mean. Alright, in The Silent Sister, Riley Macpherson has spent her entire life believing that her older sister Lisa committed suicide as a teenager. Dropping things. Now, over 20 years later, her father has passed away and she's in New Bern, North Carolina, cleaning out his house when she finds evidence to the contrary. Lisa is alive and living under a new identity. But why exactly was she on the run all those years ago, and what secrets are being kept now? As Riley works to uncover the truth, her discoveries will put into question everything she thought she knew about her family. Riley must decide what the past means for her present and what she will do with her newfound reality. So I like this book. I finished it in like 3 days. I was a little busy today, but I didn't read the whole time I was at work yesterday, so. The lawyer was talking about when someone dies unexpectedly, they don't have time to clean up, like their laptop, their browser history, and all that. She was saying, don't upset yourself by going through his personal stuff, Riley's father's. And Riley was like, is there something you're not telling me? The lawyer said that when her own father died, she ended up finding porn on his computer. And I said, awkward. I'm guessing there's a lot she's about to find out. I was right. She got a postcard to Fred Marcus in her father's mail. Same address, just different names. She didn't think much of it other than they wrote the wrong address down. Now she's with Tom Kyle and his wife Bernice, who we mentioned later on the book as well. I mentioned. She said Riley reminded her of her own son. Riley asked how, and she said because Riley's mother gave her the idea to adopt Luke like they adopted Riley. Riley says she must have been mistaken, and so Bernice went back and was like, oh, you're right, I'm sorry. I think she's telling the truth, though, because Danny, her brother, keeps talking about how he has more nightmares about the family than he does of his time in Iraq. Well, now we know why her dad left Jeannie, her mom's friend, a piano and $10,000, even though it seemed they weren't in touch, and Riley had found it weird. Turns out they were together for like 6 years. Riley didn't even know about it. Riley had found a family photo before Lisa had killed herself, supposedly. And I don't know why, but her describing how she found it at age 7 and her parents explaining that she was sad and didn't think she'd get better, so she ended it, just made me sad. I mean, I get why it made me sad, but according to the plot, she's alive, so it's just like... But still, the idea that they went through that just made me sad. Bernice told the story of why she thought Riley was adopted. She had 5 miscarriages plus 1 stillborn. Um, Shortly after that, Tom and her went to a retirement outdoors party. She sat with Riley's mother, and the mom offered up adoption. Bernice said they were too old for that, but Riley's mom said they looked into private adoption and got Riley. Riley doesn't believe it, but thought of only her having dark hair and dark eyes. Also, for some reason, Riley's dad was giving Tom $500 a month. Tom wouldn't say why, and Bernice didn't even know. I said, this book is making me sad. She was talking about how she didn't know her sister, but still felt love for her, and how she misses her. It just reminded me of my sister, even though I didn't get to know her. I still do miss her, and wish she could be here with us. Something is off about Jeannie or something. Riley doesn't like her, and neither do I. Riley found an article that said Lisa was an accused murderer. Something in the prologue had said something about that. I figured it was about Lisa, but I forgot to mention it. Because in the prologue, we don't know whose view it was, but they were talking about being at the river or the lake or wherever she was. She supposedly drowned herself. They were all there, and somebody was like, oh, good, she's dead, and all that thing, because they thought she murdered somebody. We didn't know who, we didn't know anything, but so I forgot to mention it, but they signed over the papers to give Tom the pipes he got. Before driving away, he called that sister of yours who killed herself. She didn't. And then just, drove off like he wished her a good day or some shit. Right after that news came part 2. And here we see that Lisa did run away as a new person, and the idea was her father's. That was kind of a plot twist for me. I mean, it was supposedly for the book too anyways, but I thought it was weird that it was her father's idea. I mean, not that weird, because as a parent, you want to do everything for your kid. But it's weird that he would keep that from the mother, though. Tom knows. Well, obviously he knew. I'm dumb, and I didn't put it together at that time, but that was why he was paying him $500 every month. As soon as we find out that he knew, for sure that he knew, it didn't cross my mind. To be fair, I don't think it crossed Riley's either. So. And then, as I thought, the post office box was for Lisa, now Ann Johnson, and he put it under Fred Marcus. Lisa decided to go by Jade, though, for whatever reason. This dishwasher thing is coming apart. I was wondering what that noise was. It's sticking to my shirt. She felt like the name Ann Johnson would give her away. This was immediately right after she ran away, though, so she was paranoid, of course. I got the panic, but I do wonder how Jade was what she thought of, which we find out later. Excuse me. About every other chapter now in part 2 goes back to 1990, and we see Jade living her life. She was talking about perhaps going to state school, although she was like, that would kind of suck after almost being able to coach a Juilliard, because she was a prodigy for violin, as a violin player. I don't know. Anyways, she said she felt that was snobby, but honestly, I didn't blame her. I mean, Juilliard, so compared to state school. Anyways, I wonder if she's still alive today and became a teacher like she was thinking about going to school for. She was alive, and is in the end of the book, but, I forgot to write this as a note, but she didn't end up becoming a teacher because she realized at the end of I felt bad for her. She wasted like 3 years of her life going to school to be a teacher, only to realize you'd need to be fingerprinted, which I didn't think about that either. Um, I mean, I didn't actually really know, but it makes sense since you're working with kids. I don't know if that's how it works in real life, but so she couldn't become a teacher after all. But I felt bad for her because she wanted to teach music, so I felt like that would have been good for her. Apparently, there was another teacher who taught Lisa and made her terrible at playing. Steve was jealous because he took the student, and the teacher gave her the pendant she couldn't leave behind. I'd wondered what happened there. I don't believe she really killed her teacher over a bad letter that he wrote her about her to Juilliard. I mean, it's definitely possible in like true life and the crime shows you watch. So that kind of thing does come up. But I'm guessing something more is happening since it's the book, you know. Um, Riley found an email from someone named Celia, and then the next chapter in 1995 of Jade's life, because it skips ahead, like it went, I think, to 92, and then it does 95, and then at one point it said April 1996, which I thought was interesting because that's when I was born. But the next chapter in 1995 of Jade's life, we meet Charlie's granddaughter, Celia. Charlie is a regular at the music shop that Jade works in. I looked down and lost my spot. Oh, so I'm guessing they start dating and stay together, possibly married if they were even interested in that. I wonder if she finds out, Celia. I love Charlie. It saddened me to think he's probably dead by this time because I think she said he was in his 80s, I think. Or maybe she just said he was old. I can't remember. But in 1995, he is alive at least. He was accepting of Celia when she came out, and that was the 80s or earlier, maybe. I figured he was 80 because I think it did say 80s. But Celia, I mean, his granddaughter is, I almost said in her 40s, not yet. She's in her 20s. She's 25. Yeah, that's what it was. So I figured she was pretty old already. Earlier in the book, Riley found a blog from Stephen's wife. She had said she didn't believe. I did mention who Stephen was, right? No, I didn't. Stephen was, well, I said because he took a student. Stephen was Lisa's music teacher, violin teacher, I guess. And she is, or he is the one that, she's accusedly killed, supposedly. So, anyways, Riley then finds a blog from his wife. She had said she didn't believe Lisa truly killed herself because they never found the body, of course. She had mentioned hiring private detectives, but came up with nothing. Well, I didn't think much of it but none of them, but one of them, I can't read. One of them came into the music store and showed her her picture. Luckily, she was in the back, and luckily Grady, her boss, and Charlie said they didn't recognize her. She came out after he left, and Grady said, "Just tell me you didn't do it." She said she did it. And he said that was good enough for him then. Even Charlie said, "Go to Celia," after she said she had to leave Ocean Beach. Which is why I also love Charlie. I pictured him as this cute little old man. And I said, Jay told Celia everything, even things her dad didn't know. I said, I want to know. Tell me. They didn't tell me till the end. Riley booked a flight to Ocean Beach, which I thought was a weird name. Ocean Beach. After talking to Sandra, Stephen's wife, we find out that the music store is no more. I don't know why I'm surprised, because it is 2013 in the book. But it still made me sad for some reason. And then I said Charlie did die a few years back. I knew he would have, since it's been so long, but still made me sad. I even did the crying face emoji next to it. Jeannie is the one who gave Jade her necklace, which was where she got the name Jade from. The necklace was Jade. So is Jeannie the teacher, or was that a lie? It was a lie. Jeannie ended up not being bad. She was a little pushy at first, but we liked her at the end. She found their birth certificates, Lisa's, Danny, and hers. Riley did. She was born somewhere else, which she thought was weird. She already knew that, but she found that out as like a child and had asked. But now as an adult, thinking back, she thought the excuse they had given was weird. It was something about going on a trip or something. But she thought because on her birth certificate it said 8 pounds and something, so she could tell she wasn't a preemie. So she thought it was weird that they would go on a trip hours away while she was that pregnant. Not far away from her due date, I'm sure. She had an inkling that she's Christine's, who's Jeannie's kid. Christine was a little bit older than Lisa. By like a couple of years, few maybe. And I said, okay, it's not Christine, because at the time Riley was born, Christine was in Amsterdam, probably too stoned to know her name, according to Jeannie. Which she's sober now. Which is why she was so pushy, because her and Jeannie was annoying at first, about this estate sale. And that was why, because it kept her sober, basically. I said, I think it may possibly be Lisa, honestly, and Maddie, probably, because he keeps being mentioned, and every time, like, he's mentioned along with Lisa, and it's like they're inseparable. Jade even went to see him play in some concert without him knowing. Because while he came to where she was located at, where her school was, and because he also played in the same concerts that Lisa had played in. They claimed she was away for a year, and that she got that necklace from the person she was with, supposedly the teacher. But Jeannie claimed to have given her the necklace. So I had wrote that, and then I read like literally the next paragraph, and I was right. She never went to another teacher. She went to have Riley. This reminded me of Dark Water, which, if you haven't watched that video, watch it, and then you'll know why it reminded me of Dark Water. We find out that Jade and Celia is in a band with Celia's brother and someone else. Earlier in the book, Riley looked through her granddad's RV and found a lot of bluegrass music, and it seemed weird to Riley because he didn't like that type of music. Well, now we know why he had it, and Riley knows it's Jade because of the pendant. Okay, so Jade and Celia are married and with 2 kids. They said that it was Celia's, both of them were her biological children. We don't know much about it, so I'm guessing IVF. I almost said something else. Wrong initials. I think Jade got to see her mother before she had died, which it is later proven that she did. Riley's dad had told her friend Grace to lie and get her out of the house. She found out it was a lie and went home and saw a car there. He claimed he just wanted some alone time with her and that everything was fine. Which she was like, oh, okay, like, you could have told me. Because instead, like, she was freaked out that her mother was dying, because at this point, the next day, she had died, so she was close to it. So it really just freaked her out, because she wanted to be there, Anyways, but now, when Riley's looking through his emails from Celia, she saw on July 26th that Jay took a plane and that she's upset and for Frank to take care of her, the dad. That was 2 days before her mother passed. I knew it would be too much of a shock when she was that close to death, but I am hoping she was lucid and didn't know that her daughter was alive after all. Which I didn't write, but Later, she says that the next day her mother was smiling and generally just happier. So I'm guessing she did know. So since part 3 of the book started, after Jade told Silly everything, we stopped seeing Jade's life, and it's making me sad. We are finding out things as Riley is, but still. Danny found out, the brother, I almost said Jade's, Riley's brother. Well, I am Jade's brother. I guess technically he's her uncle. That's weird. Anyways, he found out and is planning on going to the police. He even knows that Jade, is her mother, and he just doesn't care. Can't trust the Dannys of the world, I guess. Lisa hadn't been lying when she said Maddie wasn't the father. It was some guy in Italy, and she didn't know his name. I'm wondering why they even started a band. It seems kind of reckless to me, knowing she was a fugitive. Although, to be fair, this is 23 years later. Well, not when she started the band, but, I mean, in 2013, it was 23 years later. So, I can see how she'd have, like, that false sense of security by now. But still, like, how are you gonna start a band? I mean, it may be some, like, bluegrass, I don't know, folk music. I don't freaking know bluegrass music, but still. This is the biggest plot twist. So Stephen is Riley's father. I had wondered if there was some kind of affair with her and a teacher early in the book. But it was just a random guess based on nothing. I think it was because we had learned that at the time she got an pendant from a teacher and wouldn't give it off. So I had thought. But then I remembered that she was 15. Also, I didn't realize that he was 40 years old at this time. So, I mean, a rape, obviously. Turns out he's been touching her since she was a child, because he's been her violin teacher all her life. He came and threatened to take Riley away, and she went to go get the gun just to scare him away, because she'd gotten it out, but she kept it in her dad's office. But at first it wasn't even loaded. But after that, she did load it and then come back to scare him. But when she came back, he had Riley on his lap. So she quickly... Celia's telling Riley this story, but according to Jade, she tossed Riley aside. And Riley was about 2. And so it did give her, like, a scar on her forehead. I don't know why I'm pointing to my forehead. But it did give her a scar on her forehead. So that's how she had gotten it, I guess. She obviously just got scared. She wanted her away from him for obvious reasons. And so she did end up shooting him. And then I had said Riley got into a car wreck. Apparently that was all the notes I had left. But, soon after that, it had finished. She had almost hit a deer. This was right after she found out about Stephen. The same night, by the time Celia had left, it was like 4 a.m, and she hadn't slept and really hadn't ate either. And she just found out this horrible news. And then a deer, she's crying, and she's on the phone talking to Jeannie. And so then, a deer comes out and she drives instinctively. She turns to the right, and then I think there was a cliff or something, because it just explains that all of a sudden there was no road underneath her tires. She was in air. It's basically how that was described. But she ended up being okay. She survived, and barely without a scratch almost for somehow. I don't even know. Even though they had to cut her out, it said. But Jade and Celia got to go see her. Jade went in, obviously, not Celia. She meets Danny again, and Danny was still saying that he was gonna go to the cops, even after finding out that Stephen was the father and what he had done. And he basically just acted like a dick. Well, not basically, he did, because he was basically like, "Oh well, it's not. The point isn't that he was a bastard. She still took his life." It's like, do you not understand what he did to her? Like, I'm convinced they didn't tell him the whole truth, even though it said that he did. Either that, or he's just horrible anyways. But he ended up not telling the cops, though. And then eventually, after that, the epilogue happens, and she moved closer to be with Jade. And they got to sort of tell the truth, kind of. Jade basically says that she had a kid at 15 and gave her up for adoption. Riley's parents both died, which is true. They did both die. The adoptive parents, her grandparents, which they left that part out. Basically, story is her parents died. She found the biological mother, and here she is. So she got to be a part of her life still, and as her daughter. So I thought that was kind of sweet. I really liked the book. I was reading some of the reviews, and they said that like it was predictable, and I don't know because I didn't really predict all of it. Like most of it, actually, I did not predict. I don't know. Maybe I'm just horrible at predicting stuff. So if you've read the book and you knew what was going to happen, let me know. Not that anyone ever comments on these, but well, one of these days. Alright, subscribe, like, and share, and do it to Etsy's Live channel too. Bye.